Satan.
Hail Satan. So, Arctisol is pretty rad. I mean, come on, it's got stab bolt beam, bro. It's like a fan mon. Only I don't think a fan would be so needlessly cruel.
Can we get this man a jacket? Can someone get this man some hot cider?
Honestly, Arctisol is pretty good. It's a total matchup cheese Pokemon, but Boltbeak does give it more utility against bulkier teams than most weather sweepers are afforded.
What?
The biggest problem with Arctisol is definitely just that you have to run one of the crappy Snow Warning Pokemon. Ninetales is obviously the best one, and it is actually good in a way better team archetype, which is Aurora Veil Cho. But in dedicated Hail teams, it just doesn't have the support moves that consolidate team slots very well. Basically, no hazards, no hazard removal, no momentum move to actually get Arctisol in and take advantage of Ninetales' honestly pretty good typing, because it does check the best Pokemon in OU. Unless they manage to beat Jasmine, and then you're fucked. You could argue that if it had hazard removal, it would just be removing them for itself, because you can just put heavy duty boots on Arctisol, but I think that sucks. Where are the numbers? Hey, can someone
please tell me where the numbers are? I'm looking, but I can't find them.
I do think you need a secondary form of speed control with Arctisol, just because of how inconsistent the Hail is. I like Scarf Weatherball Lando because it gives you a ground immunity that can also get cheesy kills against Garchomp and other Landos with Weatherball, so that you don't have to predict their switch with Blizzard and you can just click Boltbeak 5 times. For a breaker that complements Arctisol, I kind of tried a million different things in my quest for ultimate roll compression, since 2 of your team slots basically make 1 good Pokemon. You definitely want something that can whoop Ferrothorn here, so I think Volcarona works because it also helps with Melmetal and sets up on Rillaboom, but it compounds a pretty severe Heatran weakness. So I also really like Urshifu R. The R stands for really good at beating Heatran and Tyranitar. Also, Aqua Jet stops you from losing to Scarf Blacephalon and other Volcaronas. Urshifu compounds a pretty severe Rillaboom weakness, but that one doesn't bother me as much because I'm further along in my stages of grief with Rillaboom. If I only use baby dipshit heavy offense teams, I'm gonna have trouble with Rillaboom. That's just the way it's gonna be. For hazards, I kinda just gave up and didn't run any most of the time. The choice of a truly disciplined gamer. I don't know, you probably should run them because they're so good against Heatran and other weather teams, but I had a really hard time finding a team slot for it, and I had to click defog with my defogger pretty much every time it came in. So the rocks did just feel very Sisyphean. I was using Rock's Trick Sticky Barb Clefable for a while as the funniest possible way to bait Heatran, Melmetal, and Ferrothorn, but I am so tired of losing to Volcarona. I think Rock's 3 attacks Garchomp also has potential because it can lure Lando with Draco Meteor and lure Ferrothorn and Buzzwole with Fire Blast. For the requisite hazard removal, I almost invariably found myself going back to Mandibuzz, because Mandibuzz is eternal. Mandibuzz has always been there, and Mandibuzz will be there at the end. The final synapse firing in my brain, before it succumbs to the void, will be Mandibuzz using Roost. Mandibuzz loses its flying type for the turn.
Hail Satan!
Sometimes I'll spend like all day theory crafting a team, and then find one game and realize, oh yeah, I guess I could have just used all the good Pokemon.
Ready, go!
I lead Urshifu because I always just assume people will try to counter-lead the Ninetales with Heatran. Garchomp would have also worked, but their only Urshifu switch-in was their Urshifu, so it was just too juicy. The Aegislash puts me a little behind on tempo, but no one is ready for Invested Draco Meteor from Garchomp. It's actually so good. And he's out of here. He remembered he left the coffee pot on. The eject button into Weavile would have been so sick if Garchomp was actually my win condition. And also if I didn't have the counter. I would not have done that if I didn't know it was Boots, by the way. If I thought that was Choice Band, I would have just sacked the Garchomp, because Band Triple Axle, Defo, 2-shots, Ninetales. I switched Garchomp in because I expected them to switch into Heatran, and honestly I should have just let the Garchomp die to the Weavile instead of risking switching Urshifu into an Ice Shard, but since it worked, that makes it a good play. Donking the Lando early is kind of huge, because I'm gonna keep it 100. I click the super effective move with Arctisol every single time, so you can definitely just stall me out of every Hail turn by pivoting between Lando and any Steel type. Garchomp was such a good sack there because it lets me see the Urshifu's protective pads, so I know it can't be Choice Scarfed, and Arctisol just whoops it.
Hail Satan, I submit to the dark side.
It would have been so unbelievably sick if the Hail damage killed the Heatran here. Whatever. This is a kind of sus Celesteela switch-in from me into the Aegislash, because it's mixed autotomized, but with none of the moves that do anything to Zapdos. I just really did not want to deal with Aegislash's little lollipop dance against Mandibuzz with King Shield. Their double into Zapdos, though, is really good because it beats both of my switch-ins to Aegislash, which are Celesteela and Mandibuzz. You could say staying in with Ninetales here and using Aurora Veil is kind of ambitious, but I thought there was a 0% chance they were using Toxic Iron Head. The last move has to be Substitute. And look at this Encore right here. I'm so good. I'm pogging. Arctisol whoops everything that they can double switch out into. It doesn't even have to worry about getting staticked by Zapdos. This is the best Pokemon I've ever seen. With the Aurora Veil up, I'm more confident switching Urshifu into Aegislash. I honestly probably could have switched it in earlier because I doubt that the Aegislash Shadow Ball is super invested, but I really wanted to preserve the Urshifu because of how good it is against this team, if it doesn't get staticked. This is arguably an unnecessary Ninetales sack, but I honestly thought they were going to roost. It doesn't, like, super matter, because it still gives me the free switch, and I have 100% confidence that Arctisol can go all the way against this team. But I blew it, dude. Oh my god. I did not want to get King Shielded. I wanted to get King Shielded less than I want to click a Spotify link in the group chat. So it makes it even funnier that Stomping Tantrum absolutely makes contact. I thought it didn't, because when you do the little animation on Pokemon Showdown, it doesn't touch the other guy. You tricked me, Ralph Smoggin. You made me look like an idiot in front of my Tarantula and my Dark Magician Girl body pillow. The purpose of the Celesteela is to beat Rillaboom and Scarf Tapu Lele, by the way. Also, it lures Ferrothorn with Fire Blast. I put Celesteela on every team, but I do think about it a little bit before I do it. And Arctisol killing half their Pokemon and putting enough damage on the Aegislash means that I can clean up this game with my real win condition, which is the Bird Spam core of Mandibuzz and Celesteela.
Bird up!
Hello! Just to properly set the stage for the beginning of this game, as soon as I loaded into it, I got bong water in my mouth. That's a bad omen. I kept trying to convince myself Weather Ball Thunderous Therian on Hail has the sauce, but it's definitely more of an Olive Garden marinara than a Mama's Bechamel. No leftovers recovery on this Tapu Fini tells me that it's probably Choice Scarfed, so even if Thunderous didn't get crit, it still would have gotten killed by this anyway. I switched Arctisol out just because I'm used to it being slower than every Choice Scarfer, but I definitely still would have been faster. They just sent the Tapu Fini in with such confidence that it like broke my brain. I was like, what if they have a really strong bond? I definitely should have been more conservative with my 1 rock resist on this team. And I probably should have not bet it all on the Tyrantrum not being Choice Scarfed by trying to scare it off with Ninetales. But I was like, that has to be Choice Banned. There's no other way. There's no other way a Tyrantrum enjoyer would use it in OU for a reason other than big number. I'm not scared keeping Ninetales in against Corviknight because they pretty much never run a steel move, and Iron Defense Body Press can get out of hand for me very quickly. So I want to be able to encore it if it starts cultivating mass. I definitely should have just double switched to Arctisol here instead of using these low IQ rocks. Because in what universe are they going to click Body Press again with Corviknight? And the only thing I need the chip on is the Zeraora, which has fucking boots anyway. This Tyrantrum is actually really bullying me right now. Maybe I shouldn't have thrown my Kartana in the fucking trash, like last month's cum sock. Clicking Blizzard feels about as good as clicking Bolt Beak. It makes you feel like Gen 1 Articuno. Sometimes I feel like Gen 1 Articuno. BT dubs, I just want to state clearly for the record that this freeze dry would have killed Tapu Fini anyway, even without the crit. And I know it was max special attack Tapu Fini because I crunched the numbers later. I have to sack Ninetales to the Tyrantrum instead of Clefable because, joke's on them, Blizzard does not kill Zeraora yet. Stopping Tantrum would, but at this point I'm still using Low Kick because that's what all the analyses say, but just pretend I was using Stopping Tantrum because I was for like 97% of the time using Arctisol. Because it just seems way better. You still have to get Ferrothorn to like half health before Low Kick kills it, and Stopping Tantrum is way better against Heatran and Magnezone and Tapu Koko and Zeraora. Oh no, my sticky barb. I actually feel like maybe they didn't have close combat, or else they would have used it there, so maybe Arctisol would have beaten the Zeraora anyway, and I didn't have to do all this bullshit and make myself really, really nervous that I would run out of Hail turns before the Clefable actually fucking died, and then wouldn't be able to clean up with Arctisol. Yeah, I couldn't fit Stealth Rock on this team, but don't worry. I found room for both bug fire types. Centiskorch is the world's jankiest and only true Heatran switch-in. The move you actually hit it with is Scorching Sands, by the way. No, Garchomp, don't touch that chicken parmesan plate yet. Garchomp, no, it's too hot! This Garchomp actually gets so whooped over the course of 3 turns. Like, more than any Garchomp ever has. Sorry it had to be that way, buddy. I actually should not have Weatherballed there. I should have just Earthquaked, because the Garchomp was burned anyway, and I would way rather have to switch something in against Latios or Rillaboom than against this Weavile. And I'm really glad it didn't Swords Dance during any part of this little song and dance I had to do to get Arctisol in.
Damn it. Damn it.
I got cheesed, dude. I got cheesed with my Centiskorch team. When this Rillaboom came in, I thought with 100% certainty that it would U-turn. And I would have popped off. I would have popped off when the Darmanitan killed me through the Aurora Veil anyway. I would have pogged.
That bitch is dead.
Oh yeah, I guess Darmanitan does learn other moves. This is a pretty questionable Bug Buzz. I probably should have tried to Quiver Dance again and then force damage on the Darmanitan when it comes in. but I thought if I kept Volcarona at max HP, it would make them more likely to lock into Stone Edge than Flare Blitz. I probably should have U-turned here instead of just switching, but I did not want Lando to take any damage from the Starmanitan, so it would be more likely to revenge kill it later. But it put Mandibuzz in a really precarious situation, and it actually has the best chance of beating the rest of these Pokemon. So I had just kind of assumed this was going to be Choice Specs Dragapult and Life Orb Latios, but the Dragapult is definitely Life Orbed, and the Latios definitely is not. Which then made me think the Latios was Choice Scarf, so this switch into Lando is double duty, weaken the Draco Meteor, and not get Mandibuzz tricked. But this is too much damage for Scarf, and they never trick me, and it's definitely not Specs, so I think this Latios is fucking Dragon Fang. We're dealing with a real gamer over here. So it's time for me to game harder than I ever have in my life.